Hey, Jordan here, and welcome back to another video. I am glad that you're here. Today we are taking this photo and turning it into this, all inside Adobe Lightroom. Now there's a free preset for you down below in the description. I email a lot, just a heads up, sometimes every day. Hopefully you will find photo and editing tips that you love inside there, as well as links to some products that I've made that I think you'll like too. But today we are editing this from scratch. Let's do it. I'm going to bring up the exposure first thing and bring down the contrast. Hit the J key, which will show me my highlights and any blacks. Like if I bring the blacks all the way down, you can see them turn blue in there. So I will bring down the whites. I don't want to crush them totally. So I think what I'll do is go down in here to the tone curve. And if you click this button right here, you can simply drag that down. Let's bring the whites down just a smidge, bring up the shadows, let's bring them up a bit, and bring down those blacks. There's before and there's after. Next thing I'd probably do if I was editing from scratch is go into the green, and you can mess with all of your green and red tones, green and pink tones in here. So I do want to add some green into those shadows. So we're going to do this, and then I'll probably just grab it from the middle section, bring it down. I don't want it to be too red, just have some natural warmth. So let's crush that there as well. And then up here I could add pinks to those whites if I wanted to, pinks to those skin tones. I don't, so. Switch over to reds. I'm going to bring up those reds just a little tiny bit and then bring this down on the left side. So there's before and after on those curves. Really subtle, not a big difference, but it works. So here you can see we're adding blue and taking it away in that mid-tone region. So I think what we'll do for an image like this, so let's drag up this point just a little bit. Good, and then let's make sure our skin tones look nice and good. Before and after on the tone curve. Switch over to the RGB and let's just brighten it up. Anchor that point there and then add a little bit of contrast here. Not quite enough contrast, so I can either bring down my blacks or add contrast here. A little bit different than how I normally edit, a little bit more vintage. I'm gonna warm it up a little bit, and I always like to add a little bit of pinks. If I feel like there's a lot of green, it will help balance it out. So you can tell up here in your histogram, as long as you don't have any pink starting out here to the right beyond this gray part of the graph, then you should be good. So like if I bring it all the way up, you can see those pinks. You want those pinks to be tucked into the gray. So I'll bring that back down and then just bump it up a couple of points. On hue, if you click this little button, you can adjust whatever color you select. So we'll select this little tool, bring it over here, and we'll put it on our greens. And we can bring them over into the yellows, or we can bring them more into like a teal zone. Let's go with something like that. The yellows, we will shift over into the greens. You could go either way with this. I think it's really lovely both ways. Want to make sure those colors on the jewelry, make sure they're intact. So yeah, they look good. I think I'll bring down the luminance on them just a little bit to match the before exactly. On the yellows, we can brighten them up, we can bring them down. I kind of like brightening them for this shot. And then we can add highlights if we want to. There's already a little bit you can see up here in the top corner. There's a little bit of yellow. Since it's golden hour, I think that looks really great. But we could also add a little bit more if we wanted. You can go over the top. Something that matches skin tones pretty closely tends to work really well. So if you wanted something more vintage, you can go, really saturated. I'm gonna add just a little bit. And then let's add something to the shadows. How about that blue right there? That's pretty. For our sharpening, let's zoom in. This right here is over sharpened, but if you hold down Option and bring up the masking, you can see exactly what you're sharpening. I'm gonna just sharpen the ladies, really subtle. Here, I'll zoom in. Before and after. Let's add some noise reduction. Let's reduce it. Let's reduce that noise. Bring it down, and on the detail, let's bring up the detail. Same thing with the color, only on this one I'll bring down the detail and bring up the contrast. And there's before and after in the detailing. Okay, zoom back out. Let's go to profile and make sure we check both of these. Canon, yep, 50mm, and that's right. And then if we want to protect anything that might have been distorted through the lens, we can add that here. We don't really need to crop this image in at all, so we're good with that section. And then, yeah, we can add a little bit of grain if we want to, or just leave it off. I kind of like it off for this image. And if you bring this red primary over, you can see those skin tones become a little bit more olive. And you have to be careful with this because without the right photo for it, it can kind of shift those hair tones, that hair color, into a brassy tone, which is not my favorite. We can add those greens. Let's bring up the blue. Bring down the blue. I do love that. And then the only thing that feels still a little overpowering is this yellow. So I'm just gonna go up here and remove it. Final edit, just evaluating it. Up here in the histogram, you can see those yellows are pushed out to the right. It's golden hour and it's warm and it matches with my ideal photo look over here. I sell these templates in my shop. Make sure if you grab them, use the code YouTube50 at checkout, but you just drag them in the print module in Lightroom and create like an ideal photo look. So it matches, it complements really well, even though it's different than like what my presets would offer. Quick edit on this, warmth and everything looks pretty good there. Might need to warm it up a little bit. On this image, I would probably choose Fuji or Portrait. I do want something with a little bit more pop, so something like that, and then just warm it up. I'll choose Portrait for that again. And then what I would do is just go in and bring down the exposure. Good, and if I still wanted those shadows spunked, I could always bring them up and then bring down the exposure a little bit more. There we go. And then her skin tones look really good too. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button, and I hope that you have found a few photo editing tips in here that you can snag, make your own. Make editing simple. Editing should not steal from the time that we have with our people. We should be able to make the photo that we have in our heads come to life on screen. Call it a work day, not spend forever fiddling and tweaking. If you're on the hunt for a professional editing suite, then I might have what you're looking for. You can go to BrittleyPresetSuite.com. My goal with the suite is that it would give you time back, but also that you would be able to own your photographic voice and you would stop second guessing yourself if you're second guessing yourself. Share your work on Instagram this week. Hop on, do a story, jump on TikTok, whatever it is, put your work out there. Don't be afraid to share it with the world. I'll see you next week. I'm cheering you on. Subscribe for all the videos if you want to.